Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. MacGregor, in your answers to Senator Alexander at the beginning, I was a little concerned. He asked you, do you support the Restore Our Parks Act? And you said, we support helping the parks. Do you support the Restore Our Parks Act?
We support those bills, yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to be clear. There is no retrenchment of the administration's support for this bill.
Sir, no, I believe there are some variations between the House and Senate bill, and we want to work with you as you separately move those pieces of legislation forward.
Thank you. On offshore drilling, I was delighted to hear your answer to Senator Lee's question about collaboration and cooperation with state officials. In the state of Maine, our legislature, our governor, and our entire congressional delegation are adamantly opposed to offshore drilling off our coast. Will you take the same view of the importance of collaboration with state officials in that situation?
Absolutely, sir. 43 USC 1344 is where we get direction on the administration of the leasing program.
And the state has
it requires our work with the governors of the state and local governments.
And you will absolutely respect that provision?
We will absolutely work every step of the way. We shall work as directed.
Are there any plans for drilling or exploration off the New England coast today?
I think the Secretary's statement that a 5-year plan is not imminent right now is correct. We are evaluating the impact of separate litigation on that program.
In government time, I suspect not imminent maybe means we're okay for the rest of this century. I appreciate that. On the question of fossil fuels, and there was some discussion with you of several senators. I was at a scientific briefing yesterday that presented a graph that really shocked me. I hadn't really thought about it before. We always talk about fossil fuels in terms of climate change and the effect of CO2 in the atmosphere. But the other thing is, in the space between our grandparents' birth and our grandchildren's death, we are going to use up essentially all the fossil fuel that it took hundreds of millions of years on this planet to create. And I just offer that as a thought, forgetting about the environmental effects, which are severe, but the very fact that, in a sense, our generation, our memory of generation is using up something that's a finite resource on the planet, I find disturbing. As we go into Thanksgiving, I think of Dad sitting at the end of the table, the turkey comes, all the kids are sitting there, and Dad says, I'm going to eat all of it. And that's what we're doing. And I think that's unconscionable from the point of view of simply stewardship of a resource, let alone environmental stewardship. There's not a question there, but that was something I thought was important. Budget changes. In your budget of your department, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, there's a $1 million reduction in renewable science and technology research and an $8 million increase in what is called conventional energy budget. Why in the world, at a time of concern about extra utilization and overutilization of fossil fuels, are you cutting research on ocean energy development?
Sir, in formulating the budget, we worked with the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. I would point out that renewable energy is still an important part of the mission of BOEM. I've personally been working on a potential offshore California wind lease sale. We are working within the confines of our budget as it's provided.
Well, I understand that, but budgets, a wise man once said, budgets are policy. And when a budget cuts in one area and increases in another area, cuts almost $1 billion out of offshore energy research. It seems to me that's a statement of policy that this is not a high priority for this administration.
This remains a priority in our statutes as well for BOEM, and we are working closely on all permitting and leasing that we can achieve for offshore wind energy.